Hey everybody, this is Dead Winter Dead, and welcome to Hearts of Iron 4. This is a World War II grand strategy game by Paradox Studios. Now, I have played very little grand strategy games, not because I don't enjoy them, but because they honestly seem to be fairly intimidating. There's a lot going on, and there's a lot, there's a lot going on system-wise, but you never really see a lot going on game-wise. It's not something where there's a lot of flashy things, all over the place. It's not it's a game where you really have to take your time, and it's really nuanced. But this was the first Hearts of Iron game that I kind of watched, and I had been watching for a little while, and I had been on Paradox's website watching their streams and stuff like that. I was like, this seems pretty interesting. This seems really something that I'd like to get into. So I took the plunge, and here we are. I've been playing it for about 3 days or so, just kind of getting used to the UI and used to the systems and used to what needs to be done. So I'm not a complete and total noob. I won't be embarrassing myself too much. So let's go ahead and dive into this. We will do single player. As you can see, oops, looks like I double clicked there. That's absolutely my fault. But as you can see, I've already been playing a little bit. We will single player, new game. As you can see here, you have two different starts. You have January 1, 1936 and August 14th, 1939, which is just before the start of World War II, just before where Nazi Germany kind of pushed their way into Poland and really started stirring up trouble. So this is kind of a quick start, and this is a kind of a slower, gentle start where you have time to build up your industry and prepare for war, because it's a grand strategy game revolving around World War II, so at some point war is coming. I suppose you could pick a minor country and just kind of sit the entire war out, but what fun would that be? So we are going to do 1936. We are going to play as the German Reich. One thing you may notice is that the German war flag is not the swastika. It is just an iron cross, which is not historically accurate. This is because swastikas are forbidden in some countries, especially in Germany. So the iron cross is there instead of the actual the Nazi swastika, which was historically the German war flag. It was on all of their aircraft and their warships and their armored units and stuff like that, as well as all over the uniforms. There are mods where you can mod it in, and I had been playing with a mod where all of the war flags were historically accurate, but in order to not offend anybody and step on any sensibilities, we will just revert it back to the flag that it was shipped with. So if you guys don't mind the historical flags, I will put that mod back in as we continue, but just for now, just for sensitivity's sake, I suppose, we will play with the flag that Paradox has designed and put into the game in replace of the German war flag. So we will be playing as the German Reich, as Adolf Hitler, and as you see, we start out with a couple of bonuses. General staff, our division organization is plus 5%, our planning speed is plus 25%, so basically our army has their crap together. And we start with the trait Bitter Loser, which means our ideological drift will not... We really can't be swayed from being fascist, and as the player, that's really something that's not going to happen. So, German Reich. Now, the difficulties, from what I've seen, they don't really change the AI. What they do is, What they do is, as recruits, your production efficiency cap is increased by 20%. Research time is 5% is shaved off the top, and political power gain is plus 25. So you get a lot of bonuses. And then playing on veteran, it just kind of swings that door in the negative. So negative 25 efficiency cap, plus 10 instead of plus 5, plus 10 research time, and then a negative 25% political power gain. We will play on regular. We will not play on Iron Man mode, just in case we make some stupid mistake. And historical AI focuses, this is pretty interesting. We will play with it off, but it was added into the game. If you play with it on, the other countries will try their best to follow a historical path, as they did in the late 30s and then into the early and mid 1940s. So you will essentially have a more historical game. We will play with it off, which means anything can go. If we want to try to turn the United States fascist, we can try to do that. So, which we may do. We may try to take the United States or somebody, or maybe try to make Poland into an ally and use them as a buffer against the USSR. I don't know. Let's go ahead and get started. Alright, welcome to Hearts of Iron. As you can see here, the date is January 1st, 1936. So the first thing we're going to do, as you can see, we have these tabs up top here. Insufficient resources. We will go ahead and deal with that. These are all of our resources that we use in trade, but more importantly that we use to create our military and industry. As you can see, we have a deficit of 13 oil and a deficit of 5 rubber and a surplus of everything else. So the Reich starts out with a lot of steel. There's a lot of steel, but you'll burn through that pretty quickly, simply because we're going to be building tanks and warships. We're going to have quite a powerful military at our disposal, and we need to get started doing that quickly. The first thing we're going to do is we will trade oil with the Soviet Union. I will trade away 3 factories. I'm basically giving them use of 3 of my civilian factories for 25 units of oil. And I need to have shipping convoys in order to get this to and from the Soviet Union. So as you can see here, I do have 199 convoys available. I will soak up 3 convoys as well as 3 factories, but in return I will get 24 oil. Now this can change as war kicks up. If your shipping lanes are through enemy waters, they can put a stranglehold on your ability to import resources that you need. But I find that mid and late game it really doesn't matter. If you've conquered a lot of territory, then you've also conquered a lot of natural resources. Plus there are some factories that allow you to actually create oil. So who has the most influence? France. Yeesh. I think we will go with the Netherlands. No, United Kingdom. We will give them, this is rubber, right? We will give them 2 factories for 16 rubber. Alright. Well, that shouldn't be any more. We have no divisions in basic training. Alright, this is our recruit and deploy tab with our template tab. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start training, not that many, holy smokes. Boom. I'm going to start training some infantry divisions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, Yikes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oops. 10. And we will do 2 runs of that. So essentially we will train 10 infantry divisions all at the same time, and we will do that twice. This is the equipment that we need, and this is their actual training. If you're getting your butt kicked, you can actually pump these guys out to the field with minimal equipment and minimal training. You're essentially just giving a guy a uniform and a pair of boots and saying, go to war. But we are not at war, so I have the luxury of keeping these guys basically in training camp, in basic training, in boot camp, until they are fully trained and fully equipped. So we will do that, and I also want to train some mountain units. These are going to be my kind of elite units. 5 of those, and I will do 2 runs of that. My infantry units will automatically deploy to Hanover, and since I don't have any war plans yet, I can't. The deploying to an actual operation is impossible. But once you have operations actually in effect, this little tab here that is locked, you can deploy them to a certain province, and then you can click on this and actually add them directly into an operation that is in effect. So if you need to get troops to the front line quickly after they deploy, they will automatically strategically redeploy to whatever front you want them to go to. And we will send our mountain units, I guess right here, somewhere in the middle where I can keep track of both of them. Alright, our national focus. This is the national focus tree. All of the major powers have custom national focus trees. As you can see, it's fairly historical. You know, here's the Rhineland one, which we will be going after fairly soon. Anti-Comintern pack. And then you can befriend these different countries. We've also got army innovations, air innovations, rocketry, the Wunderwaffe, the wonder weapons that Nazi Germany had, naval tree, and these essentially give large bonuses to your country overall, and they can also shape your country and change the direction of history as you see fit. We are going to start with the Reich, which essentially gives us maximum infrastructure in Brandenburg, Hanover, Thuringen, and Franken. Please excuse me if I butcher any of these names. Alright, our next one, we have free dockyards. So what we are going to do here, I'm going to let these subs, actually no, we will type 2. Let's look at our outdated stuff. No, okay. So type 2, it is type 2 alpha. So this is the latest and greatest sub available to us according to how many according to what we have researched. I'm going to assign, so I've got 6 dockyards producing these. I'll produce 2.6 a year. I've got 4 runs of destroyers, 1 run of a heavy cruiser, and then I can add something else. So that's going to be good enough there. Here we have free military factories. Now this is the meat and potatoes of how you keep your armies running. Down the left-hand side is what you are actually producing. This, of course, can be changed as you research new technologies. They are built using military factories. So I have 40 military factories available to me. I can build new military factories, or I can gain access to new military factories through either trade or conquest. And obviously, conquest is the easiest one to do. Easiest in a sense, meaning that if you win the war, you will capture your enemy's resources as well as all of their infrastructure and factories. So you need to make sure that if it's going to be a quick war, maybe you don't want to do a lot of tactical bombing. Maybe you don't want to bomb them back to the Stone Age, because once you annex that land, you're now left with the mess that you've created. So you really have to kind of temper yourself. If it's a small country and you can't take it through diplomatic means, and you have to use military force, maybe it's just best to use your ground forces to push through, force them to capitulate. That way you're not destroying a lot of their infrastructure, because once you destroy it, you have to rebuild it if you want to use it. But we have 20 additional military factories that we can use. I'm going to put 5, so I'm going to max out my infantry equipment. I'm going to have 3 more for a total of 5 for my support equipment. As you can see here, I need 13,000 more units of infantry equipment, which is essentially pistols, rifles, machine guns, grenades, ammunition, stuff like that. And it eats up, as you can see here, 30 units of steel for me to produce this much. But I will be producing 778 a day. I want to focus on tanks, so we will put 5 into our Panzer IIs. I also want to focus heavily on my Air Force, so I will make 5 into our fighters, and towed artillery will give us an extra punch, 39, and then I'm not going to build too many. I'll go ahead and keep these just in case I do move into a more motorized infantry, but I think for now what I'll do is I'll put that in the fighters. So my military factories are maxed out. Everything's good to go. Civilian factories. Alright, so let's move back up to Germany. Zoom out just a little bit. Okay, the German Reich. Now this can be a little bit confusing. Let me walk you through it. We own 32 factories. Okay, we have 11 available for construction, and 21 of them are in use. So depending on your laws, we use 15 for our consumer goods. That's just factories that are used by the people for their day-to-day goods in order to keep them happy. If you become a communist country, you can obviously say, no, only every household only gets one toaster instead of two, or whatever. I'm not sure why they used a toaster as the icon, but I think it's hilarious for consumer goods. But 15 of our factories are automatically, because of our laws, allocated to consumer goods. Now, of course, you can change your laws. You can petition to change your laws. You can try to change the government, put different leaders in there. You can get people who will boost the efficiency of your existing factories, which we'll get into later. But right now, 15 of them are just locked into consumer goods. 6 we traded away. As you remember, we traded for oil and rubber, which we are going to need for our mechanized units. So we have 11 total. So 21 here, 21, 32 minus 21, we have 11 total. And the best thing to do early game, obviously late game, you're going to be wanting building rocket sites. You may want to build some naval dockyards. Mid game, you may want to build some forts if there's some areas that you actually really want to fortify, which can be useful. You have your infrastructure here if you want to build up infrastructure to get supplies to the front line, etc., etc. But that's really more when you're in war. I'm going to focus on civilian factories. Now this map breaks everything up into our provinces. Everything that's blue is maxed out. Like here in Württemberg, we have 8 out of 8. If you hover over it, it'll tell you we have 7 military factories and 1 civilian factories. So there is nothing here that we can actually build. We can resituate things later, but right now what we're going to do is we're going to focus our civilian factories in these provinces here. We'll just go ahead and queue up a whole bunch. And then we'll throw in a couple military factories here. Now, as you can see, the queue is very, very deep. We're only working on the ones that are in the Hinterpommern province. There are going to be 4 there. As you can see, it takes 125 days to build one of them, 500 days before they're all completed. If we had more civilian factories, I could assign more civilian factories to this task. But right here, this is kind of a set it and forget it. Just stack everything up and let the factories you have available just pump out what you need. All right. And last but not least, research. We have 4 slots for technology, which we will go through right now. You can get research that will give you more slots, but we will start off with basic machine tools, which will increase our production efficiency cap by 5%. Construction, which will increase our construction speed by 10%. I'm not going to do with synthetic oil right now. We will do electronic mechanical engineering, which will reduce our research time by 2%. And the last thing we will do, you have your industry here. These are your air doctrines and your air technology, naval doctrines, naval technology, military ground force doctrines and technology, your artillery, your armor. As you can see, we already have the Panzer I and the Panzer II researched. We are producing Panzer IIs right now. And this timeline down the side, which appears in almost all of the research, I could jump up here and I could, say I want the Tiger. I could start researching the Tiger. The problem is you are given a penalty if you start researching technology before its time. As you can see, it's only 1936. If I start researching 1941 technology, it will I will be given more and more of a penalty. So it's usually best to kind of stay within the technology that exists within your yearly bracket. For those of you also wondering, time ticks down by the hour. So if I were to unlock this, it would be 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. So the movement of time is not by days, weeks, or months. It's by the hour. So as you can see, it's very in depth because things can change in an hour. You could have your troops could be winning a battle at lunch, and by 5 p.m. they could be in retreat and losing that battle. So it's interesting the way it moves down. What we are actually going to research for our last slot is, and here's all of our infantry equipment. As you can see, I could research better weapons, but I would receive a penalty because those better weapons are tied to 1939, so on and so forth. So what I will do is I will research support weapons. This will give small bonuses to different types of units. To our infantry and to our mech, we will receive +5 defense and +5 breakthrough. Alright. So we have everything rolling here. Now what we will do is we will unfreeze time, and we'll speed it up just a bit. I'm going to turn the day-night cycle off because the faster time goes, it gets a little annoying. It gets a little flashy and just ridiculous. So let's take a look at our army. Here is our army. The first thing I'm going to do is take this unit and I'm going to disband it. I don't want any cavalry in my army. I'm going to disband it, and when I disband it, all of the men and all the equipment that is used to make that army, give that division the ability to fight, will go right back into my stockpile, so I can turn around and use that equipment again. You don't lose it. Boom. Type. Alright. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, wow, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, come on. So touchy. Alright, so we've got 13 divisions right here. We will create a new army for them. They will be essentially a garrison unit that will garrison the Netherlands right here. So we will give them a new order. Here's their front line. And as you can see, I cannot go into this area. This is the Rhineland. The Rhineland is a demilitarized zone, according to military treaties that were signed after World War I. So Germany cannot enter the Rhineland. We, of course, are going to retake the Rhineland and remilitarize it in the future. So as you can see here, my troops, these 13 divisions, are all spreading out across the Netherlands, across this front line. We're not at war. These are just where I want them to stand. Let's take our navy here. Let's throw everybody into these ports. Go ahead and put you here into that port as well. Who else are we missing? Are we missing anybody else? I think that's everybody. Alright, let's go back to our army. So as you can see here, these divisions here are assigned to this army. I have not given them a commander yet, but I will once war breaks out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wow, that one, this is a lot smoother. Okay, so 10 divisions here. 11 divisions. Really? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, I don't know why I'm like losing a division. We will create a new army. This one we will change up a bit. Actually, we'll keep this one here. We will move this one over here, and we will name this the... Oops, if I could spell. The Polish Front. And we will assign them, you guessed it, to the Polish Front. So they will spread out. As you can see here, you see how this went from green to yellow. There are three phases basically. Green means that you have enough troops to sufficiently cover this area. Yellow means we're stretching it just a bit, and if I were to keep extending this along a usable border, it would eventually turn red, and that's essentially where your commanders are saying, no, there's no possible way that we could garrison or attack this thinly spread. So we will keep it in the green. And we will move those troops there. Let's take a look at our army actually a couple more times. Let's get all of our mech divisions. So we've got some mechanized infantry as well as 3 panzer divisions. We will start an army with them. I'm going to change what they look like. So you can change the color of your units here, and then there are 3 symbols. Basically, I use the castle as a garrison or defensive units. I use the spade as like frontline, vanguard, storm, attack units, and then I use the what is the other one? The shield as kind of a multi-purpose unit, kind of just a middle of the road, a regular unit that can either attack and or defend. My panzer units are going to be a vanguard unit. They're going to be in the thick of the fight, so we will give them a new theater. And these theaters don't mean anything. They're just so that I know what I'm looking for. So this will be, wow, German Mech 1. This is just so that, like, if I'm looking for my mech units, like, alright, I remember I had a unit of 4 mech, because I only have, you know, 30 or so divisions right now, but later in the game, you're gonna get into the hundreds, and they're gonna be spread all over the world, so you're gonna want to know where they are. I'm gonna put these mech units and station them just north of Prague, right there. And the last thing that I need to deal with is this mountain unit. We'll put it into its own army. New theater. Now my mountain guys are going to be elite units. They will be vanguard units, so I will name them German Spec Ops Mountain 1. German Spec Ops Mountain 1. Let's go ahead and change their font too. Let's give them a spade, and we will make them green. Alright. And okay, so our national focus was completed. The Reich's Autobahn was completed, which adds maximum infrastructure. So now, basically inside our main provinces in Germany, men, machines, weapons, we have maximum infrastructure as far as roads and railways in order to get supplies to the front lines. So our next one that we were going to do is, and as you can see here, a notification popped up, we have no national focus set. The next one, we will pick the Rhineland. It will take 70 days to complete. The German Reich is not puppet. We are not puppeted. Basically, this will give us the Rhineland back. It will no longer be a demilitarized zone. And this is going to be key, because my plan is to attack the Netherlands, and let's actually get this started. Go ahead and get the clock going again. My plan is to attack the Netherlands and Belgium. One, so that I can get control of these ports here, so that if the UK starts crap, we can actually we can get our subs situated in these waters in the English Channel and start taking down their did this pause? Let's see. Start taking down their convoys and whatnot. But 2, if you look right here, this is a holdover from World War I. This is the Maginot Line. As you can see, it's heavily fortified. This is a holdover from World War I, where I guess France figured if there was ever going to be another war, that it would be this huge trench war, and Germany would be sitting right here in trenches, and they would just be lobbing shells at each other for 5 years. But mechanized warfare came a long way between World War I and World War II, and essentially what Adolf Hitler's generals did was they walked around it. There were a couple assaults on the Maginot Line that were diversionary, but they walked around the Maginot Line and just said, let's just take our mech units and our armored units and just go around it. Why sit here and slug it out for months or years on end with this heavily fortified position where we can just go around? So that's what we're going to do. But we are going to do it, or I'm going to attempt to do it through. Once we build up our military, we're gonna get control of the Rhineland, which is this red area here. I'm gonna post units all up and down this front, and we're gonna get it heavily fortified. We'll take the Netherlands and then sweep south into Belgium and take Brussels. Once we capture Brussels, Belgium will capitulate, and this entire area here will be open. if France starts to get squirrely, we'll be able to just tear across these plains and head straight for Paris instead of fighting our way through the Maginot Line and through these mountains to get to Paris. So hopefully that will be much easier on us. Let's take a look at our Navy. We have 3 units here. Let's see. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to merge all these units and make one large Navy. But now I'm going to create a fleet, and this is a cool thing that you can't do with any other. You can only do it with the Navy. You can't do it with the military. I'm going to select a new fleet or create a new fleet, and I'm just going to transfer all my subs to that fleet. All right. Did that? Nope. What are we doing here, guys? Come on. So is this everybody? This is everybody. Actually, where is our... Oh, that's why. We have somebody here. Who is this? 2 destroyers. We will leave these guys alone. They will just sit there. That's why it looked funny. Now, detach all of our submarines. We have 15 submarines. This will essentially be our wolf pack. We will assign an admiral. We will assign Admiral Karl Donitz. As you can see, he has the trait Seawolf, which gives him plus 20% submarine attack. We will assign him to that, and we will move him. Actually, we'll leave him here. We will move. We will move this other unit here. That's where they will be stationed out of. But we'll have our subs here. That way, when we start the war here, we can get our subs essentially patrolling this the eastern North Sea, the North Sea, and the English Channel, and that will sink anybody who tries to actually make an attempt to reinforce Belgium or the Netherlands. And then we can also use that same tactic for northern France. So we have everything set up. Time is not moving, but that is okay. We can modify the government, so we will go through that. This is what our political page looks like. This is our leader, obviously Adolf Hitler, World War II. These were the 2 traits I explained earlier. This is our government. We are mostly fascist. That will probably never change. We can't really be swayed one way or the other. Excuse me. But what we will do now, political power is up here. I have 150 political power. That gives me the ability to select a political advisor. You can also select someone for research and production, as well as your military staff, which will give buffs to industry and military units. We are going to do the war industrialist. We will do captain of industry. I think what we'll do is we'll do backroom stabber. This will give us more political power. So we will pick him. That way our political power increase will it'll go up a lot more, and we'll be able to stage coups in some other countries. So I hope you guys are enjoying Hearts of Iron. As you can see, it's not a really flashy game to watch, but there's a lot going on if you kind of dig yourself into the history. And we are actually going to attempt to rewrite history. So if you guys like this, please give me a thumbs up. It helps the channel a lot. Share it with your friends. Share it wherever you want. Bring people to the channel. We'll see if we can get up over 500 subs. We've been growing very slowly over the last few weeks, and I've been excited about it because I'd kind of stalled out around 400 or 390 subs. Kind of stalled out there, and now I'm over 400 subs. So I'm excited about that. I appreciate everybody's support. My name's Dead Winter Dead. Thanks for watching.